Hi guys, it's Kim here, Papa's Fix the Chop. Look at the little guy here. Oh, can you read that? Probably. So, what you see here is a part from a John Deere 2500B greens mower. It's a turf mower. It's a 3-reel, very precise mower that does greens and colors and other parts of a golf course. But this little guy, it comes from John Deere. It's like 170 bucks. The shipping stuff, it could be 200 bucks, depends. It's a couple of different versions. These ones are machines about 20 years old. So when you start the tractor or start the mower, this little pin gets retracted by an electromagnet, and it's got a 12 volt high power electromagnet that engages for 1.5 2 seconds, something like that, just long enough to yank this guy in there. And then an electronic control unit takes over and puts it's unclear what it is. It's a low voltage, 5 volts, something like that, that holds it in. And everything's hunky-dory. But various situations on a 20-year-old tractor, it stopped doing its thing with regularity. Or either that or the operator was a dumbass and he sits there with the key on, but he hasn't started it, waiting for like a minute, and it's liable to burn this out. But hopefully they're educated. In any event, it's like 180 bucks to get another one. I bought 5 of them for the mowers in the last few months. So what I did was I cut this guy apart and I made one of these. It's basically plumbing parts. This is a 3/4 inch male thread copper pipe fitting, and this is a brass cap for a 3/4 inch male pipe thread, and then there's a 1/4 inch compression fitting coming in there. So I'll take her apart. Let's see, I'll back it off a bit. Are you working? There it is. It's rather mildly complex. So this guy right here is the part I keep from the old one. I put it in, I chuck it in the lathe right here. Just grab it. I cut this wire off. If I pull it up closer, I'll show you why it's bad. See where the fire turned on and let the smoke out of the wires? That's the spot. So this thing was at a high-powered engagement load for too long, and it burned it out. It got hot and blew out. So I chuck it up like this and use a parting tool and just cut it off right here. You could do it with a hand, like a 90-degree cutoff saw too. And what you get out of there is this guy, this pin. Take it all the way apart if I can. Yeah, there you go. All right, so there's the rest of it. So when you cut this apart at this edge, you end up with this little hub right here, and that's the part that I silver soldered onto here. I turn it off of the lathe, and there's a little bit of a boss in there. You can turn it down right where this guy just fits on there, and you silver solder it. And then you get these 3 parts. It's a copper liner, and a spring. And this pin is the business end. If it's like this, sticking out, the engine will not run. If it's over here in, the engine will run all day long and you can't turn it off until you push this in again. So, little copper cap for a 3/4 inch pipe thread. This little guy I made. It's a 3/16 piece of rod from Lowe's. It's just 3/16 steel rod. And I used number 10 30 by 32 thread, and I put a die on there and cut the threads in it. And there's a big fat O-ring right there. This is another one that just worked out right. So there's an O-ring right here. It goes in and it just hits on top of that. That's, you know, a compression fitting for like copper water or whatever. But I can screw this on here and it gets kind of tight, right? It gets tight because that O-ring grabs onto it, which is important because this guy is in the active oiling system. There's a lot of oil flying around inside that injection pump, and it will go inside here, and if you have an opening somewhere, it'll get out. So that's an oil control. Anywho, and that, like I said, just a fitting. I drilled a hole, put an 1/8 inch pipe tap in there, made a hole, made it in there. This guy fits into the original hub. Put that guy on like that. All I gotta do is hook a couple of threads. Come on now. Oh wait, I can do it this way too. Get the little Chingadera screwed onto the end of this piece of all thread, or this little piece of bolt. All right, so then I stick it in here, screw that guy together. Then this part, it's the last piece I made. So on this end there's a hole that goes in and a little grub screw that'll put the cable end in there and clamp on. I'll grab the cable on the machine side, and this other end has the number 10 by 32 SAE screw that fits that little shaft I made. This little Chingadera screws on right here, right? Just so. So when I put it together, I'll Loctite all of this stuff because the vibration will loosen things. But I'll seal this, and I'll seal this guy, and I'll Loctite these points of contact, and then I'll put a cable, and that cable will be able to open it up like that and hold it while you're driving the tractor around. And when you're done, you move the lever, and it turns the engine off. That's all it's about. So I'm replacing a $180 electric device with a, I don't know, there might be $10 to $20 worth of materials in there, plus my labor. So, but it's a one-time deal. Might be interesting if somebody has one of those 3-cylinder John Deere motors that has some version of this fuel cutoff. At least in America. I lay odds overseas you can go down and pick one up at a store. Anywho.